In the hidden corners of history, certain books emerge that are whispered about more than they are read. They are objects of both fascination and fear, promising profound knowledge at a potentially terrible cost. One such text is the infamous Shams al-Ma'arif al-Kubra, which translates to the Son of Great Knowledge. This ancient grimoire stands as one of the most controversial and feared books in the Islamic world. It is not a book of simple stories or religious guidance. Instead, it is a detailed manual of esoteric arts, a compendium of rituals, talismans, and occult formulas that blur the line between spirituality and sorcery. For centuries, its name alone has been enough to evoke images of forbidden power and dangerous practices. The controversy surrounding Shams al-Ma'arif stems from its very nature. It purports to unlock the secrets of the universe by manipulating unseen forces, a practice strictly condemned by mainstream religious authorities. The book is filled with complex diagrams, mysterious symbols, and instructions for summoning spiritual entities known as jinn. Its pages offer methods for achieving wealth, love, or even vengeance, but these promises are wrapped in a shroud of spiritual peril. The text intricately weaves together elements of astrology, numerology, and Islamic mysticism, creating a potent and dangerous mixture that many believe leads its readers down a path of heresy and spiritual ruin, making it a forbidden treasure sought by some and a cursed object shunned by many others. The reputation of Shams al-Ma'arif has only grown over time, enhanced by its scarcity and illicit status. In most Arab and Muslim nations, the book is strictly banned, its printing and distribution considered a crime. This prohibition has driven it underground, where it thrives on the black market, its allure magnified by its forbidden nature. Those who seek it are often driven by a desperate desire for power or a deep curiosity about the hidden workings of the world. They are willing to risk legal punishment and spiritual condemnation to hold in their hands a book that promises to reveal what is concealed from ordinary eyes, a book that claims to be nothing less than a sun of knowledge in a world of shadows. This book is more than just a collection of arcane spells. It is a cultural phenomenon that raises profound questions about the nature of faith, power, and knowledge. What drives a person to seek out such a dangerous text? Is it possible to wield its power for good, or does any attempt to do so inevitably lead to corruption? The very existence of Shams al-Ma'arif challenges the boundaries between accepted religious practice and forbidden magic. It forces us to confront the idea that there may be forces in the universe that are not meant to be controlled by human hands, and that some knowledge once gained can never be unlearned, forever changing the one who sought it. The author credited with this formidable work is as mysterious as the book itself. His name was Ahmad ibn Ali al-Buni, a Sufi scholar who lived a remarkably long life, born around the year 1126 and dying in 1225. He was born in the city of Buna, in what is now modern-day Algeria, and became a renowned figure in his time, known for his deep piety and extensive learning. Al-Buni was not a reclusive sorcerer hiding in the shadows. He was a well-respected intellectual who traveled widely across the Islamic world. His journeys took him to Tunis, Andalusia, Egypt, Mecca, and Damascus, where he studied with some of the most prominent scholars of his era, absorbing a vast array of knowledge. Despite his scholarly reputation, al-Buni was also known for his deep interest in the mystical and the unseen. He was a practitioner of Sufism, a mystical branch of Islam that seeks a direct personal experience of God. It is said that he often retreated into solitude, spending long periods in mountains and caves, engaged in deep meditation and spiritual exercises. It was during these solitary retreats, according to legend, that the lines between the physical and spiritual worlds began to blur for him. Whispers and speculation followed him, suggesting that his profound insights were not solely the product of study and prayer, but were perhaps influenced by communication with otherworldly beings, such as the jinn. This duality is what makes al-Buni such a fascinating and controversial figure. On one hand, he authored nearly 40 other books on topics that were well within the bounds of mainstream Islamic thought, many of which were highly regarded. On the other hand, he is forever linked to Shams al-Ma'arif, a work so radically different from his other writings that some historians have questioned whether he truly wrote it. The content of the grimoire, with its explicit instructions for magic and summoning, seems to be at odds with the image of a pious Sufi master. Yet, the prevailing historical view holds that al-Buni is indeed the author, leaving us to wonder what led this respected scholar to compile such a dangerous text. The legacy of Ahmad ibn Ali al-Buni is therefore split. To some, particularly within certain Sufi circles, he is remembered as a great saint, a man whose deep spiritual connection gave him access to divine secrets. They see his work not as black magic, but as a form of high spirituality, a way to understand the hidden architecture of God's creation. To the majority of mainstream Islamic scholars, however, he is viewed as a heretic, a sorcerer who dangerously mixed sacred texts with forbidden occult practices. This enduring debate ensures that Ahmad ibn Ali al-Buni remains an enigma, a man who is either a righteous saint or a master of the dark arts, forever defined by the secrets he unveiled. Opening the pages of Shams al-Ma'arif al-Kubra is like stepping into another reality, one governed by hidden symbols, celestial alignments, and ancient powers. The book, which is divided into 40 chapters, does not waste time before delving into its esoteric subject matter. The author al-Buni begins with a preface that praises God but also issues a stern warning. The knowledge contained within is not for the unprepared or the malevolent. He cautions that using its formulas without the proper spiritual purity and understanding could lead to disastrous consequences. This warning sets the tone for the entire work, framing it as a body of powerful, yet potentially self-destructive knowledge that must be approached with the utmost care and respect. The contents of the grimoire are vast and varied, covering a wide spectrum of occult sciences as understood in the medieval Islamic world. Early chapters focus on the mystical properties of the Arabic alphabet, exploring the secret power believed to be embedded in each letter and its numerical value. From there, the book moves on to discuss the 28 lunar mansions, the 12 signs of the zodiac, and their connections to the spiritual realm. It provides detailed instructions for performing spiritual retreats, known as khalwa, which are necessary prerequisites for many of the book's more powerful rituals. These retreats often involve strict dietary rules, isolation, and constant recitation of specific prayers and divine names to purify the practitioner's soul. At the heart of Shams al-Ma'arif are the talismans and magical squares. The book is filled with intricate diagrams and geometric shapes, each designed for a specific purpose. These are not mere drawings, they are believed to be conduits of spiritual energy. Chapter 19, for instance, is explicitly titled On the Properties of Some Beneficial Talismans and Squares. These talismans often incorporate verses from the Quran, the names of God, or the names of angels, combining them with astrological symbols and numerical patterns. The book teaches how to create these objects to achieve goals such as finding love, gaining wealth, protecting oneself from harm, or even influencing the thoughts and actions of others, a practice that enters a morally ambiguous territory. Beyond talismans, the book details complex rituals for a variety of purposes, some of which are deeply unsettling. It claims to hold the secrets to powerful incantations, including the names that the prophet Jesus allegedly used to raise the dead. The rituals often require specific timing, aligned with planetary hours, and the use of particular incenses and materials. The practitioner is guided on how to harness the powers associated with the four classical elements: fire, air, earth, and water, and connect them to the spiritual world. This intricate system of correspondences creates a comprehensive framework for magic, one that claims to give its user the keys to manipulating the very fabric of existence. Shams al-Ma'arif presents, a vision of the cosmos where the physical and spiritual worlds are intricately interwoven, connected by a complex web of correspondences. Al-Buni draws heavily on the ancient theory of the four classical elements, fire, air, earth, and water, and expands it into a comprehensive metaphysical system. In his view, these elements aren't just physical substances, but also fundamental principles that govern everything in existence, from the human body to the celestial spheres. He links them to the four humors of ancient medicine: yellow bile for fire, blood for air, black bile for earth, and phlegm for water, suggesting that a person's temperament is really a reflection of their elemental balance. This elemental framework is then mapped onto a spiritual hierarchy. The book assigns specific angels and jinn to each element, day of the week, and planet, creating a detailed tapestry of influence. For example, the angel Gabriel is associated with Monday and the moon, while the angel Michael is linked to Wednesday and Mercury. Each celestial body is said to radiate a unique energy that affects the world below, and the rituals in the book are often timed to coincide with specific planetary hours to harness these influences. So, a ritual for love might be performed during the hour of Venus, while one for power might be conducted under the influence of Mars, using incenses and materials that correspond to the desired element. The book teaches that by understanding these connections, a practitioner can learn to manipulate them. If someone wishes to influence a person, they must first determine their dominant element and temperament. A talisman or spell would then be designed using corresponding materials, symbols, and incantations to be effective. For instance, a spell targeting a person of a fiery nature might involve rituals performed at noon, using objects associated with the sun and the element of fire. This systematic approach really transforms magic from a haphazard art into a precise science, albeit an occult one, where every detail is crucial for success. This vision of an interconnected universe is central to the philosophy of Shams al-Ma'arif. It suggests that there are no true divisions between the material and the immaterial. They are simply different frequencies of the same cosmic reality: the stars above, the earth below, the spirits in the air, and the thoughts within our own minds are all part of a single unified system. The ultimate goal of the knowledge in the book is to give the practitioner the ability to perceive and influence this system. It's a worldview that sees the entire universe as a great, living talisman, and the magician as the one who has learned to read its symbols and speak its language. Perhaps the most notorious and feared section of Shams al-Ma'arif is its detailed exploration of the world of the jinn. In Islamic tradition, jinn are beings of smokeless fire who coexist with humans, possessing free will, and living in their own hidden societies. While some are believed to be believers, others are mischievous or malevolent. Al-Buni's Grimoire goes far beyond these general beliefs, presenting a detailed taxonomy of the jinn, complete with their names, hierarchies, and domains. The book lists the 7 great kings of the jinn, each ruling over a specific day of the week and a corresponding planet, creating a dark mirror to the angelic hierarchy. For example, the book names the jinn king al-Mudhib as the ruler of Sunday, associated with the sun, while the king Maimun is tied to Saturday and the planet Saturn. Each of these kings is said to command legions of lower-ranking jinn who can be summoned to carry out specific tasks. The book provides the names of these jinn servants and, most disturbingly, the rituals required to call them forth. These are not simple prayers, they are complex rites that often involve entering a state of ritual impurity, a direct violation of Islamic practice. One such entity, named Azazir, reportedly requires the summoner to prostrate before it, an act of worship directed at something other than God, which is considered the gravest sin in Islam. The book describes the appearances and characteristics of these entities in vivid detail. Some jinn are said to appear in the form of animals, like the jinn Zarnakat, who can manifest as a black cat or a tiger. Others are described as monstrous hybrids or ethereal beings of light and shadow. Al-Buni provides the specific sigils or magical seals associated with each jinn, which are to be used during the summoning ritual to establish a connection and command them. The rituals are fraught with peril, and the book warns that a summoner must protect themselves by drawing a magic circle and adhering strictly to the instructions, lest the summoned entity overpower and harm them. These passages on jinn summoning are the primary reason for the book's condemnation as a work of black magic. The act of seeking help from jinn is considered a form of, or polytheism, as it involves appealing to created beings for powers that belong only to the creator. It is seen as a pact with dark forces, a transaction where worldly desires are exchanged for one's soul. The book's detailed instructions for these forbidden acts have cemented its reputation as a guide for sorcerers and a gateway to damnation. It offers a path to power, but it is a power that comes from a world that, according to religious doctrine, humans were never meant to control. The legacy of Shams al-Ma'arif is littered with cautionary tales and chilling anecdotes, passed down through generations as warnings against meddling with its contents. While most of these stories are unverified, they serve to reinforce the book's dangerous reputation. They speak of individuals who, driven by greed, love, or curiosity, use the book's rituals, only to find themselves entangled in a web of supernatural horror. These tales are not just stories, they are potent cultural warnings about the price of forbidden knowledge. They paint a vivid picture of the consequences that await those who dare to walk the perilous path laid out by al-Buni. One popular story tells of a young man who sought a formula from the book to improve his memory and academic performance. Initially, the ritual seemed successful and he excelled in his studies. Emboldened, he delved deeper into the grimoire, eventually using its secrets to accumulate great wealth. His journey took a dark turn when he allegedly married a beautiful female jinn who brought him fortune but demanded his complete devotion. When his family, unaware of his secret life, tried to arrange a marriage for him with a human woman, the jinn became murderously jealous. The man's life descended into chaos and terror, his fortune turning to dust as he was tormented by the very entity he had summoned for aid. Another well-known account involves a man who attempted one of the book's most dangerous rituals, summoning one of the 7 jinn kings. He prepared for the rite meticulously, following the instructions for a 7-day solitary retreat and a strict diet. On the final night, as he uttered the incantations, his house began to shake violently, as if in the grip of an earthquake. The air grew cold, and a terrifying sense of dread filled the room. He claimed to have seen a monstrous creature with glowing red eyes manifest before him, a presence so malevolent that it nearly drove him insane. He abandoned the ritual and fled in terror, but the story goes that his home remained haunted, a permanent scar from his brief and foolish brush with the other side. These stories, whether factual or folkloric, all share a common theme. The power offered by Shams al-Ma'arif is a deceptive trap. It promises control but delivers only chaos and subjugation. The rituals may seem to work at first, granting the user's immediate desires, but they always come at an unbearable cost: madness, ruin, or eternal servitude to the entities they summoned. The book is portrayed as a spiritual poison that corrupts the soul and shatters the mind. These cautionary tales serve as a powerful deterrent, transforming the book from a mere object of curiosity into a symbol of a forbidden threshold that should never ever be crossed. The response to Shams al-Ma'arif al-Kubra from mainstream Islamic authorities has been overwhelmingly one of condemnation. The vast majority of Muslim scholars and jurists have declared the book, and the practices it contains, to be unequivocally, or forbidden. They classify its contents as, or sorcery, which is considered one of the 7 major sins in Islam. The book's method of mixing Quranic verses and divine names with magical formulas and talismans is seen as a profound act of blasphemy and polytheism. From this perspective, al-Buni is not a saint but a sorcerer who led people astray by cloaking forbidden practices in the language of faith. This strong religious opposition has translated directly into legal action in many parts of the world. The printing, publishing, and possession of Shams al-Ma'arif are illegal in almost all Arab and Muslim-majority countries. Governments enforce these bans to prevent the spread of what they consider to be dangerous and heretical teachings that could corrupt society and lead individuals to spiritual ruin. Getting caught with a copy can result in fines and even imprisonment. This official prohibition has driven the book deep underground, but it has not eliminated it. Instead, it circulates on the black market and more recently across the internet, its forbidden status only adding to its mystique and appeal for a certain audience. However, the view of the book is not entirely monolithic. Within some Sufi traditions, a more nuanced perspective exists. Figures like the respected jurist Yusuf al-Nabhani regarded al-Buni not as a sorcerer, but as one of the righteous saints of God, whose piety granted him special insights into the divine mysteries. From this viewpoint, Shams al-Ma'arif is not a manual of black magic, but a profound spiritual text, whose secrets are only accessible to those with pure hearts and advanced spiritual understanding. They argue that the book's dangers arise only when its knowledge is misused by the ignorant or the malevolent, not from the knowledge itself. This minority view keeps the debate about al-Buni's true nature alive. The starkly contrasting views on the book highlight a deep and ancient tension within religious thought. The conflict between exoteric, rule-based religion and esoteric experiential mysticism. The mainstream view prioritizes clear prohibitions and the protection of the community from spiritual harm, seeing the book as a clear and present danger. The mystical view, on the other hand, champions the pursuit of hidden knowledge and direct experience of the divine, viewing the book as a potential, albeit perilous, pathway to enlightenment. This ongoing conflict ensures that Shams al-Ma'arif remains a deeply polarizing text, simultaneously a cursed object of black magic and a revered text of high spirituality. One of the most tantalizing aspects of the Shams al-Ma'arif legend is the fate of the original manuscript, penned by al-Buni himself in the 13th century. Despite the book's fame and influence, the original copy is considered lost to history. No library or private collection in the world claims to hold the author's autograph copy. The earliest known surviving manuscripts date from centuries after al-Buni's death. with one of the oldest being written between 1679 and 1688. This gap of over 400 years has given rise to a host of theories and speculations, transforming the disappearance of the original text into a mystery as profound as its contents. Three main theories persist, each steeped in the folklore surrounding the book. The first and most supernatural explanation is that the jinn themselves took the book. According to this legend, the jinn feared that the grimoire contained too much power and could be used by humans to enslave or destroy them. To protect themselves, they stole the original manuscript and hid it away in their own world, a realm inaccessible to mortals. This theory elevates the book from a human creation to a cosmic artifact, an object of power so great that even supernatural beings fought to control its destiny, ensuring it would never fall into the wrong hands again. A second, more pragmatic theory suggests that the original manuscript was deliberately destroyed by concerned Muslims of the era. Given the book's controversial nature and its condemnation by religious authorities, it is plausible that pious leaders or fearful communities sought to eradicate its influence by burning the original text. In an age where books were rare and precious, the act of burning a manuscript would have been a powerful statement. This theory posits that the book was seen as a source of corruption and heresy, and its destruction was a necessary act to protect the faith and safeguard the community from its dangerous and seductive power. The third and perhaps most poignant theory is that the book was buried with al-Buni in his grave in Cairo. This version of the story portrays the author as being aware of the dangerous potential of his work. In his final moments, he may have decided that the world was not ready for such knowledge and that the secrets within Shams al-Ma'arif were too perilous to be left behind. By taking the book with him to the grave, he would ensure its safety, keeping it locked away from both those who would misuse it and those who would destroy it. This theory casts al-Buni in a more tragic light, as a guardian of terrible knowledge who chose to become its eternal keeper, leaving the world with only copies and whispers of the original's true power.